Start stream. Here we go. View your channel. See YouTube Studio. Create, go live. Later. Streaming software. Close. Here we go. Do. Create, go live. Later. Streaming software. Close. Here we go. Do. Create, go live. Later. Streaming software. Close. Here we go. Do. Start recording. Go live. Here we are. Here we are. Godspeed joined. How are you doing? Oh my goodness. How is everyone doing today? There we go. Lord Meth. Gonna have some good conversations today, hopefully. Chat rate. 1. I got a chat on my YouTube stream? That's fun. Live chat. How is it going? How is everyone doing? If you guys enjoy the content of me sitting here and waiting for someone to talk to, go ahead and like the stream. Give me a follow. If you guys disagree with the prompt, feel free to request up. We can talk about it. If you guys agree with the prompt, go ahead, give me a like, give me a follow. It'll help stream out. Which rites existed before Christianity in Rome, Greece, or Persia? Very few, and the ones that did exist were for freemen and only of the correct ethnicity. Wrong? What do you mean wrong? I mean, Saying Christianity has been amazing for the world is really just an opinion based. Well, no, I mean, if you think things like the abolition of slavery, universal education, economic progress, higher quality of human rights, the conception of human life and rights as you and I know them as Western individuals, then it's not really an opinion-based thing. Further, the Catholic Church gave you your rights. Sure? I'm cool with that. No, it did not. No, it did not. No, it did not. Let's come up and talk about it. Cozy Lemos. Let's talk about it. The abolition of slavery and then systemic racism still exists. Yeah, but you're not trying to say that, the conditions right now are as bad as they were during the transatlantic slave trade, are you? Because they're certainly better than them. Civil and legal rights, legal protections under Roman civil law. Yeah, sure, there were protections, of course. These are all for Roman citizens, by the way. St. Thomas Aquinas, St. Augustine. It's kind of equivalent, minus being on plantations. That's an insane thing to say. And I think a lot of people would find that pretty offensive. It's kind of equivalent nowadays to the transatlantic slave trade. Strikingly similar in verses for ICE defenses to slavery defensives. Yeah, I don't know what you mean by that. What in the world? What in the world? Here we go. Thanks for noticing now. W. Rose. Here we go. I'd be down to join, but don't embarrass me. I try to have honest, nice conversations. How are you doing? Can I get your age for
I'm
TOS?
doing good, bro. Well, I'm 20.
Okay, nice to meet you. And what can I call you?
He, him.
Well, what can I call you? Like, as a
Oh,
name?
Colin.
Colin, got it. And do you agree or disagree with the prompt?
Um, I mean, I disagree, but like, how far back are you trying to go?
I'm going to the inception of Christianity, my friend. Jesus'
So,
death and resurrection on the cross.
okay. And what do you think about the German guy?
1 second. Lord Mess. Persia had articulated rights long before Christianity, especially under the Achaemenid Empire, and the Achaemenid Empire was the single largest impaling capital of the world. It impaled more people than any other place throughout history. Colin, go ahead. I'm sorry, I missed what you said.
What do you think about the German fella?
I don't like him, but he certainly wasn't a
No?
Christian.
Why don't you like him?
Well, he took the lives of millions and millions of people.
Like, are you worried about like the Jewish people, the lives he took, or like the war, the byproduct of the wars?
Every single life lost is a tragedy.
Do you think he had like Germany's best interest in mind?
I think he had his idea of Germany's best interest in mind.
Do you think he was a good Christian?
No, I don't think he was a Christian. In fact, he did identify, he used Christian language, but in private conversations he said multiple times that the idea of Christianity is Jewish from its inception, and he had multiple pagan confidants, and the overwhelming amount of evidence to his personal beliefs points us towards some kind of like pantheist belief system. There's actually a book written about this. It's called Schmittler's Religion. Like, I actually need to look up what the book was called. But there's an entire book written on this because of how divisive of a topic this is. Yeah, the twisted beliefs that drove the Third Reich.
So I've heard of that, but what do you think
Yeah, I
about?
know. I got chapped lips. Don't blame me too hard.
What do you think about like the Judaism's involvement in Christianity?
So I'm confused. What are you getting at here? I'll answer all your questions, but what
do you believe Jews killed Jesus Christ?
I think that they were certainly an instrumental part of it.
I see. Do you have any like ill will towards the Jewish people?
Jesus Christ himself was Jewish. What are you yapping about, man?
What about like modern Jewish people?
I see modern Jewish people the same way that I see every other type of people.
So, like, would it be accurate to say that Judaism gave you your rights?
No, of course not.
But Jesus was Jewish.
Yeah. But
So, like,
it wasn't Jesus' Judaism. So I guess what you would need to clarify is what type of Judaism you're referring to. If you're talking about like modern rabbinic Judaism, then of course not. But I think that ancient Judaism, that Jesus actually was both a part of the ethno religion of and a subscriber of the actual belief system, of course, because he instantiated it as God himself. That was, of course, instrumental in shaping Christian theology. But Judaism doesn't actually, it doesn't proselytize. So Judaism by itself, it wouldn't have spread without Christianity.
I wish you could talk to my dad. My dad has a doctorate in theology, but I'm afraid I'm not prepared for this conversation.
Okay. Are you a Christian?
I don't even know anymore, dude, but I probably would identify as a Christian, but I'm not practicing.
Okay. Well, I pray that you start to practice again. And, if you have any other questions, I'm not trying to be rude here. But I just, I do appreciate you coming up.
Yeah, appreciate it, and congratulations on your marriage.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it, Colin.
Are you planning on having kids soon?
In a couple of years. Young.
Nice, dude. I'm not married, but I'm gonna have kids like this year.
Well, I hope you have a plan to get married before that.
Yeah, I mean, the girl I'm being married to, she's got a lot of money, or the girl I'm trying to get pregnant, she's got a lot of money, and we're probably gonna move down south to like South Carolina or something if it actually ends up happening.
Yeah, I would recommend against that.
But I low key like she's like low key like kind of like ran through, but I like am interested in like finding like a virgin woman that I would be strictly monogamous with.
Well, I don't think you should use that language about someone who you're trying to have children with.
She's a great lady, but she's had a lot of sexual partners. And like, what do you think about like women that have had a lot of sexual partners and like choose to be like born again?
I think no one is outside of God's grace, and if they choose to be born again, then they're my sisters in Christ, and I see them just as I see everybody else.
I'm definitely not a virgin, by the way. But
Thank you for telling me that.
they say in the comments they're like, I bet he isn't a virgin. But would you make that option for yourself? Like, would you recommend that for someone? Like, if a guy's a virgin, would you recommend he gets with a non-virgin?
I would say that is I would say that is a personal conviction thing. I think if you're a Christian, you should only get together with another Christian because I believe you guys should be equally yoked. But if she's been born again and she's had a past, a sinful past, everybody does, then her sins have been wiped clean with the blood of Jesus. So I see nothing wrong with that relationship.
Yeah, I mean, like to an extent, like right, like I mean, like how is there like a certain point where maybe it gets too too far,
Nope.
too far gone?
There is no point that
Well,
someone
well,
is.
that you would like recommend for your son or brother or someone close to you.
Um, yeah, I mean, I guess it would just have to be an evaluation of an individual's convictions. Like, if they're truly born again and you believe that, then I see them the same as everybody else,
Awesome. Do you think that like monogamy is definitely ideal?
100%.
Do you think that people that choose not to do that, like do you think like there's people out there that like are incapable of being monogamous?
Do I think that there's people who are incapable of being monogamous? No, I think that's kind of a limited mindset. You think you're incapable of doing something like that, like being monogamous? No. I don't think that there's anybody who's incapable of being monogamous.
That's true. But like, do you think like it like in nature and like there's tribes in Africa where they would just have sex with everybody and they would all raise each other's children?
Only hang out with Christians? No, I don't say only hang out with Christians. I have lots of friends who aren't Christians. I'm saying only get married to a Christian because it says to get married to someone who is equally yoked. I'm gonna go ahead and let the next guest up.
Awesome, bro. Appreciate it.
I appreciate your time, Colin.
Of course.
Thank you for coming up.
What's your name?
Spencer.
Spencer. Appreciate it, Spencer.
Of course, thank you.
I would just like to say that I am completely in agreement to this. And you are doing great things. I see you on this all the time. It kind of makes me think you're annoying, but hey, man, you're doing great things.
Thank you very much. And bootlicking NPC, I seem logically consistent. I try to be. We all have some cognitive dissonance, but
me?
yeah, I can kick you. Thank you so much for coming up, Kenny. I know I've had you on the live before, but I appreciate you coming up.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, bootlicking NPC. Once again, props is rare for Christians. I appreciate that. I try. Let me see. Rights for whom's? That's pretty selective for Christianity. Rights for the enslaved to no longer be enslaved. Rights for women to no longer be property. Rights for children to universal education and literacy. We can go on. What's wrong with you? Yeah, you're whitewashing and cherry picking. No, actually, I'm just observing history and sociological effects where we can see where Christianity goes, human rights go. This is so disingenuous. Well, I'd love to have you on. How old is the Earth? Whatever the scientific consensus is, I am willing to believe. So, I don't know, what is it, 16.5 million years? I don't know. How old is the Earth? Oh, I was way off. Ignore what I just said. 4.5 billion years. Sorry, 16.5 I think is like dinosaurs or something. Words of an oppressor. Oh, hi. How's it going, Levi? Can I get your age for TUS?
19.
Okay. And what can I call you? I'm assuming I can just call you Levi?
Yes.
Alrighty. Oh man, I'm wrong again. It's 65 million. What was 16.5 million years ago? There's something. Um, Eocene epoch. Yeah, that means nothing to me. So Levi, do you disagree with the prompt?
Half and half. How about that?
That's better than most people. Would you like me to explain exactly what I mean by my prompt, or do you want to go ahead and say what you think about it?
And I think I see what you're saying in the big perspective. I think I see where you're coming from. Where most leaders in modern American culture whether you're on the right or the left, Christianity is the dominant religion. And so it gets to a point where everybody claims everything, whether it's right or wrong. And I think that puts Christianity in a compromising position, which is why we're having this debate, because most Christians want to be more on the good side than the bad side, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I'm just going to respond to a comment really quick. Lord Math, universal education did not originate with Christianity. Absolutely did. Martin Luther and the Protestant Reformation was the first person to have the idea of joint education for both boys and girls. Of course, it was still unequal, but it was universal in the fact that both boys and girls of all statuses, not just the high classes, but all statuses, boys and girls, had some time to study the gospel. I understand what you're saying. I think my claim is a little bit more nuanced. That I'm not just saying like, oh, it's Christians who have given people rights, because that's oftentimes not true. Oftentimes Christians take away rights, but I don't think that's because of Christianity that they do that. I think that I can back that point up with the actual historical trends that we've seen as well. And when we do a bivariate means comparison of Christian regions and non-Christian regions, we see that in the Christian regions, when they are having like antisocial behavior and behavior that harms minorities and subjugated groups, that is also the same behavior that's being taken place all around the world. So things like slavery is the biggest example. And then when we see Christian nations do something positive, like abolish slavery, that's something that was a unique effect of Christianity that you couldn't see anywhere else before Christian nations did it.
Well, I would say the abolishment of slavery was more of a socio-economic effect of America becoming more and more progressive with respect to industry instead of culture. To a certain extent, if that makes sense. I mean, don't get me wrong, Abraham Lincoln was the driving force, but ultimately I think it comes down to Frederick Douglass and
Who was a devout
Harriet.
Christian?
Do what?
Who was a devout Christian?
Frederick Douglass?
Mm-hmm.
Not what I've read, no. He was a pretty atheist communist.
Oh, okay. Let's look it up. Was Frederick Douglass
Given the books I've read in college,
okay, so you've read books in college that say that Frederick Douglass was an atheist communist, and that's really interesting because I've never heard that before, and I just looked it up just now. Every source I can tell says that Frederick Douglass was a devout Christian who credited Jesus' teachings as motivation for his work to free slaves.
Well, I don't know what source that's coming from, but
I can give you.
granted, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt that most African Americans during the early 19th century were Christian in America, but most of his ideals came from Marxist readings, if I'm still remembering that correct. But it's been a while.
Let me see. So,
And Missy's right. It was illegal to not be Christian for a long time in the States. You couldn't practice anything else. So
that's just
by
inaccurate.
by default,
Where was it illegal to not be Christian?
I mean, you couldn't practice any other religion for a long time.
Where? I'm confused as to what you're talking about.
To the fact that Muslims could not come into the country until late Lyndon B. Johnson presidency, early Bill Clinton legislation allowed for less restrictions for Muslims, and
I'm looking for anything that shows that any legislation against Islam in the United States. I can't find anything.
early legislation with respect to what could be built within American territories as far as religious establishments, whether that be churches, mosques, shanabs, temples.
I can't find anything, any anti-Islamic legislation.
Well, no wonder, because they don't want you to know.
Well, so tell me then. So educate me.
Well, it wasn't until during Love versus Hedges, Hethkoff, when basically interracial marriage was decreed. That was sort of the turning point. That was the beginning where other religions were allowed to freely practice. I don't remember the wife's name. I want to say Penny. She was not Christian. I don't want to say Hindu. It was something else. And I don't know. But no, he is right. Not even by legislation, by just default of culture, you cannot freely practice in a mosque or a temple in the United States.
Yeah, so I'm not a Groyper or MAGA. I wouldn't even consider myself a Christian nationalist. I think that the secular government that the United States has is a beautiful gift that was given to us by the Christian founding fathers. So just a couple of things. I looked up whether or not Frederick Douglass read Marx, or if there's any historical evidence that he read Marx or was ever influenced by Marx's works, and I couldn't find anything on that. And the original claim was that it was illegal to be a Christian, or to be anything other than a Christian in the United States. And of course, you can say that there was cultural pressure not to be Christian, but that's true to this day. I'm just looking for legislation from the United States.
Cultural pressure not to be Christian.
Yeah, of course. Cultural pressure to be Christian. I might have misspoken.
Not as much anymore. It depends on what area you live in, but there's more protection to freedom of religion now than there was whenever the first words were written on the paper.
I am conservative, by the way. I was just asked. And, maybe not everywhere.
Whenever they wrote freedom of religion, they meant freedom of whatever denomination of Christianity you want to practice.
So you keep on saying that, but I haven't been able to
find...
That's
the first time I've said that.
No, but you keep on saying that there was anti... religious freedom legislation.
Well, let's
against
go back
Islam.
to the Native Americans who worship their Shabbat gods, their gods of nature.
Shabbat
and
gods?
Their corn gods, their cloud gods, rain gods, all the the Shabbats.
Shabbat is the Jewish Sabbath. I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Shabbat gods.
I guess I've never heard of that. I looked up Shabbat gods. I look up Shabbat gods, and it says Shabbat, or the Jewish Sabbath, is the rest. I'm not looking. I can't see anything for Native Americans and Shabbat gods.
No, it's not. It's Shavat
Oh,
gods, like
like a V.
elemental. They're elemental gods. The corn, the rain, the clouds, the river. They worshipped a god
Okay.
for every element.
Okay.
And
I
there wasn't
actually,
any physical representation. It was just you worship this god if you want this element. You worship that god if you want corn. It was a poly religion, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah,
For
yeah.
not all Native
Polytheistic.
American religions. It was a very poly. Yeah.
It was polytheistic, of course.
Many gods were involved at one point, but then when Columbus came over, it kind of put an end to that. And
Yeah. So I think
I don't think
that-
Christians gave I think Native Americans are have been very forgotten that their culture was mostly wiped out in the beginning, and really just the trailing survivors were allowed to.
Well, so what happened to
Really
the
not this
native
world.
populations of the Americas is undoubtedly a tragedy. Upwards of 100 million people lost their lives. But we have to remember that that happened 98 to 99% due to the plague, different types of plagues. And this was a time before a working germ theory. So there was literally no possible way.
It was the
that-
plague that the Europeans brought over. The
yeah.
Native Americans weren't dying before they came over.
Yeah. It
No
was,
one asked the
No, it was-
Europeans to go find.
So it was the plagues that the Europeans brought over. That's absolutely true. But this was a time before any working germ theory. So there was literally no way that the Europeans could have had any knowledge that this was going to happen, especially the loss of life at such a grand scale.
What does that have to do with Native American genocide?
Well, okay. What was your question originally? Maybe I should ask that. What was your stance originally?
That the Europeans and Frederick Douglass and King George committed Native American genocide on behalf of the Catholic diocese, and there's now trails of tears right next to where I live dedicated to them. And so no, I don't think Christians gave them rights.
Yeah, Frederick Douglass.
But
did
whenever
that.
we say you, we can't only talk about you in the first or third person. I mean, let's go. You applies to everybody if everybody is a person. So what would you say to the Native Americans who had their entire culture wiped out?
I'd say it's a tragic thing, but you would have
So
to.
therefore the claim is wrong.
So why? No. Oh yeah. Okay. So you would have to actually provide evidence that it was Christianity that caused that, whereas it was not.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
The Catholic Church ruled the entire economy in the early 18th century, and you keep laughing.
Yes, because
And
you
I
said
go
it.
back-
I'm sorry. I don't mean to be rude.
No, and that goes back to the point that I was going to make. I took sociology. It's mainly psychology, and I'm tipsy. But so, do you often, I'm not asking this to be belittling, but do you often laugh during not compromising, but maybe uncomfortable situations? I'm not trying to point it out. It's okay. I'm not judging. I'm not making fun of.
No. I just think I think it's funny what you're saying, because you said.
I don't think it's funny when people are
So
getting killed, but-
so you brought up the Catholic Church and how the Catholic Church ruled the entire economy. But if you want to go back to what the
The
Catholic
spice
Church's
trade.
So if you want to talk about the Catholic Church's actual legislation before the mass unalivement of the native populations, 1537, Pope Paul III, Sublimis Deus, declared indigenous peoples fully human, affirmed their rationality, liberty, and property rights, condemned enslavement as violating natural law. So
Okay.
you brought up
Well,
the Catholic
you
Church.
go-
I didn't. I'm not a
you
Catholic, personally.
Okay, well, the Catholics were the original Christians, and I'm
Debatable.
not even defending them. No, they were the original church.
That's debatable.
It's really not. It's historical fact.
See, that's kind of a Eurocentric viewpoint you have, because the Eastern Orthodox, the Coptic churches, the Ethiopian churches would say that they were the first ones. It's kind of a Eurocentric viewpoint you have.
The chair of St. Peter has been passed down for over 2,000 years, starting with Peter. It is. I'm not even. I'll tell you this on behalf of. I'm not even Catholic, and I will tell you that after studying historical evidence in Thomas, that key, whether or not Jesus was real, has been passed down to the next pope. I can't, as much as I want to, I can't deny that.
Yeah. So the problem is millions, hundreds of millions, maybe even 1 billion Christians around the world disagree with that. What they would say, the Eastern Orthodox Church, what the Eastern Orthodox Church actually, so this comes from Scripture. This idea that you're referring to comes from when Peter was referred to as the rock upon which Jesus would build the foundation of the church. There's a ton
upon these keys, I will give you the foundation to build the church upon this rock.
Well, I'm not sure what upon these keys you're talking about, but
the historical representation is at one point keys, and that's why the Catholic, they have the upside down and the upward key above the. I forget what the Pope's crown is called. You probably know more about it than I do, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot what the hat is called. That's why it's their symbol.
I'd like to go back to talking about the Native Americans, because you brought up an interesting point about how hundreds of millions of natives lost their lives, and that's a terrible, tragic thing. But we're talking about whether or not Christianity gave people rights, and the fact is that Christianity had no role to play in the mass unalivement of Native Americans due to the plague. Because, again, like I said, there was no working germ theory at the time. So the Europeans that came over couldn't have possibly anticipated something like that to happen.
Like, can you explain to me how a plague is somehow okay?
No, plagues are bad. Plagues are a bad thing.
So why during COVID didn't we just kill everybody who had COVID? If that's the point you're going at, if the plague was the reason for it, then why are they excused? Why are they excused and we're not? Why are the Europeans excused for killing people because of a plague that they brought over? Because of the mice on their ship that bit everybody.
Yeah, so when we're talking about the accusation that it was Christianity that caused the plague in the Native American, but you're saying so okay. So what's your point? I don't want to put words in your mouth. So just can you reiterate from beginning to end your point?
You're saying that it is because of a plague that Europeans decided to kill all these Native Americans.
No, that's not all what I'm saying. That's not. I never said that a single time.
What does this plague that you speak of have to do with anything?
That's what wiped out 99% of Native Americans. Voctor, can you help me with linear algebra? I probably could. You give me a little bit you give me a couple of weeks to brush up on it. I took linear algebra in college. I have my minor in mathematics. Thank you very much. Major in computer science. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you. I don't know. It was just this guy said, "Can you help me with linear algebra?" I thought that was kind of funny. So, what were you saying?
Going back to the plague, I want to ask a better question. How often I'm confused on what you mean by the plague killed 99% of the Native Americans.
Yeah. So what I mean by that is
even if this so-called plague killed 99% of them, why, whenever Columbus came over, did he feel the need to ravage all these villages
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and burn them down?
Okay. So there's a couple of different things there. Columbus came at a point before the vast majority of the native population of the Americas had gotten wiped out by the plague. So he encountered an America that was essentially full. And that is why you see so many encounters with Columbus and the Native Americans when compared to a couple hundred years later, because most of them had gotten wiped out not by Europeans, but by the plague.
Are you typing on a computer right now while I'm asking you questions?
No, you can hear me when I'm typing. Here, this is what it sounds like when I type.
Okay. Anyway, we can. I agree with you that. Did John F. Kennedy draft the civil rights movement on behalf of his Catholic priest in New York that spoke with him about it before he drafted it? Absolutely. No, there's historical evidence. Absolutely. That bill was drafted, and whether or not his Christian conscience brought him to that, it happened for a good thing. Absolutely, that happened. Did Christianity move Martin Luther King to give the speech on the steps? Absolutely. Do I think that new-founded Christianity that I believe is severely rooted in, Trump at this point? I don't really see a difference, in my opinion, and I'm sure the majority would agree.
Yeah, so we can talk about current Christianity.
Current Christianity, I wouldn't touch with a 20-foot pole, even if it brought me to Jeffrey Epstein's island. I wouldn't touch it with a pole. I would want nothing to do with it. Because every so-called Christian leader in our nation right now is obsessed with money and hiding. It's sort of this obsession with camouflage in a very camera-driven and technologically driven world. And they need so much money to cover it up.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all because we love Jesus and we love Israel.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. And most people would agree with me, which is why the current administration is doing so bad.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So
But
there's a lot to unpack there. We can talk about modern Christianity. We can talk about how Christians on average donate more, how Christians on average volunteer more, not just to their own churches, but also to secular organizations. We can talk about how Christianity increases mental health, and it's a good predictor of marital longevity. We can talk about all of these things and the effects of modern day Christianity. We can talk about how the Catholic Church today is the single largest non-governmental provider of healthcare. I'm not even a Catholic, but that's kind of impressive. We talk about how 90% of sub-Saharan education is given by Christian missionaries. These are good things.
okay. I can't really disagree with you there. I don't have any evidence to go against you as far as that goes, but I really can't go against you on that. We can agree on that.
Yeah, we can agree on that. And we can also agree that Trump is not a very good representation of Christianity, even though I'm a conservative Christian saying that. But obviously, Trump is not a good guy.
That's fine. And I'm moderate, liberal, Episcopalian. I believe in Jesus. I just don't know if I'm not as hardcore as to say that certain nations do no wrong no matter what, and we should be killing people in the streets for being gay or anything like that. Unaliving, excuse me. I'd hate to get you audited. Unaliving people in the streets.
Yeah.
But
So there's a couple of things I don't want to press on you too hard for them, but just to like correct a couple of historical inaccuracies. Once again, Frederick Douglass, I think you conceded this already, but Frederick Douglass was a devout Christian. There's no historical evidence that he had any ties to Marx or that he ever read Marx. Frederick Douglass did not cause the mass unalivement of native populations. The Catholic Church did not have a working theory of germs, so they couldn't have possibly anticipated the plague wiping out 99%.
But even then,
well,
we have germ theory today.
Yeah.
After Listerine not Listerine the mouthwash, Listerine the scientist. Whether you know or you don't know, it doesn't matter. After Listerine the scientist developed germ theory, we know that germs spread by droplet, contact, touch. I'm sorry, but if I go somewhere and I see people with developed communities, developed villages, developed cultures, developed religions, I'm not going to get up in their face unless I'm invited. And given that these Native American populations at the time really viewed themselves as the only people, I'm sure they were not in a rush to get up in people's faces. So whenever Frederick Douglass came up in matters of just basic human psychology, you can predict that he had to come in contact with them to a certain level, and they didn't speak the same language. So that either tells me that tells me that physical contact had to be established for germ theory to present itself. Unless they were sneezing from the boat the entire time and it somehow got to them. I don't.
Hey, I got a comment from Bob Don. Oh my goodness, on my YouTube. That's crazy. Yeah, so you're saying that Frederick Douglass had to have some kind of idea that he was spreading germs and the plague to the native population?
No, I'm saying he probably had no idea.
Or you're saying that he had no idea? But so what were you saying then?
That he had to have come in contact with them in a very intimate stance in order for germ theory to present itself. If we want to talk about germ theory, I mean, whenever you're shackling people and trailing them down these trails, I'm going to assume you're coming face to face with them.
So you're saying that Frederick Douglass had a big part to play in shackling?
Not Frederick Douglass. Columbus, not Frederick Douglass. Columbus.
Host, I suggest a topic you don't have to dodge reasonable questions about next time. I can't keep up with.
Stay out of it.
I can't keep up with the chat and have a respectful conversation at the same time. Why am I so obsessed with Frederick Douglass? Because he was a great Christian visionary, and he. What do you mean? Why am I obsessed with Frederick Douglass? He was a great man who led to multiple social revolutions. Do you have anything else to say about Frederick Douglass and his relationship to the indigenous population? What question?
I meant Columbus. We're going back and forth. Mind you, I am mildly tipsy right now. I'm not even in full stance, as I'm sure you can tell.
Do you have any questions that you felt like I didn't answer?
No, that's not even the main reason I came on here. Was
well, so someone in the chat is just saying that I've been dodging a lot of your questions, and I just want.
Been dodging the. I'll let me defend you on this.
Thank you, Levi. I appreciate that. What a nice guy you are.
Let me take this sip real quick. Hang on.
What a nice guy you are.
He's not been dodging the questions. I think he's trying to use his resources the best he can. And whether or not we agree is up to him.
Thank you, Levi.
And I think going back to no, I don't think he's dodging. I just think he's trying to compare them to something different
Mm-hmm.
to maybe not express it in the way that I want to, or maybe we want to. I don't know. But-
Z, avoiding solid points mainly in the comment section, which you claim to keep up with. You must have misheard me because I literally said that I can't keep up with the chat. I said that I can't keep up with the chat while having a respectful conversation. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
So can I ask, when did not even going back to the prom, but when did you discover Christianity? I'm just curious.
When did I discover it? I was raised in like a lukewarm Christian household, and then I was a
Okay.
professing atheist coming out of high school, and I gave my life to Christ junior year of college.
Junior year of college, okay. So often, I just want to ask, I'm not meaning to point stuff out, but
Mhm.
I'm
You don't have to
Decent.
like worry about hurting my feelings. You can just go ahead.
because it's not private. I know there's people on here, but often I'm guessing when I'm going to start by asking, when your lips are chapped, do you feel the innate sense to pick at them?
Yes.
You do. Okay. And it's like if you don't pick at them, you feel like you're not in control, or maybe something bad's going to happen if I don't pick at the scab at my lip right now.
I wouldn't say that.
But it's like you need to do it to a certain extent.
I wouldn't say that.
Or
no.
do you subconsciously do it?
It's just more of a subconscious thing.
Okay. And often do you feel like whenever you're staring at something or you're super concentrated, do you blink a lot?
If
Like
it's
you've been told that you blink a lot whenever you're talking with people.
so if it's at the end of the day, at the end of a long day, my eyes get strained and I do end up being squinty because I have a desk job and I'm staring at a monitor all day. There's also 2 key lights staring at me in the face, so probably do blink a lot. Oh my goodness, my lips are chapped and I am blinking. Go ahead, Levi.
Often-
You don't have to be afraid of hurting my feelings.
Often whenever you see things you don't like, see things you don't agree with, see things that make you uncomfortable, do you pucker your lips in, maybe suck on your lips, or feel the need to put something in your mouth, not in a weird way, but maybe a pen cap?
So I don't chew on pens or anything. I do like pucker my lips. It's just kind of like a tick I do, but I do that all the time. It's not like a nervous habit. It's just I always do it. My wife points it out constantly.
Okay. So you said junior year of college you became a Christian. In high school, so high school you weren't a Christian.
Mason says, "Are we flirting?" Yeah, I think we are flirting right now, Levi.
No, I'm trying to get to a point. It's going to take a minute. So during high school, you weren't a Christian, correct?
During high school, I would, up until my junior year of high school, I probably would have said that I was a Christian, but I certainly wasn't. And by my senior year of college, or by my senior year of high school, I wouldn't have said that I was a Christian anymore.
Okay. But I want to back to the mouth thing for a second with the picking of lips, putting things in the mouth. Is it a tick you've had since you were let's say middle school?
I don't remember when it started. I know I used to chew on my shirt a lot, but
Okay.
I stopped doing that. So it might have.
Right, can you tell me what age you stopped chewing on the shirt? Chewing on the shirt collar, shirt sleeve, anything?
Probably like 6th grade.
Okay. So lukewarm. Okay. So, and I'm gonna ask: do you have a lisp? Maybe in speaking in uncomfortable conversations, direct face contact. Is there a lisp you may have been made fun of at times in your life?
I had a rhoticism growing up, so I couldn't pronounce
Okay.
my R's.
Okay.
You know.
And the R is a word that a lot of people around you picked up when you couldn't pronounce, correct?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. And I'm guessing people made fun of you for that at some point
Maybe.
in your life.
Yeah, probably. I'm sure.
Okay. And do
Guys,
you often...
I'm sorry. I'm gonna respond to the chat really quick. Everybody says what's going on right now. I'm having a good time. This is a fun conversation for me. So keep going, Levi. Don't pay attention to the chat.
Okay, so when you smile like that and you avert your eyes to something else that's going on, like the chat, is that something you've done before, done early childhood up?
No, it's
Maybe
just me
smiled
looking
like that smiled like you did in compromising conversations, looking away.
Are you referring to this one? You mean my winning smile?
or making comedy jokes like that during certain conversations.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry. What was the question? That my yes was not an answer to a question. It was just an acknowledgement of what you said.
So, the smiling, the averting to another resource of concentration, suddenly forgetting what I said at some point during conversations, is that something that's happened in the past as well? Early childhood up to now? Or have you noticed at all?
I can't recall a pattern.
Okay. So, given the oral fixation, the comedic relief, the looking away, I'm just going to ask, was mom or dad either not present during early childhood, one or the other, at one point, maybe a brief period of time in early childhood?
They were both present.
They were both present. Okay. Was one gone a lot of the time at one point? I want to particularly talk about mom.
Both my parents worked. Other than
Okay.
that, no.
So mom was there the whole time?
No, my mom wasn't there the whole time. She worked full time.
She worked for how long?
I don't know. She had a varying schedule.
Okay. Did you feel like at times mom was not present?
All right, I just have a question.
Okay.
Are you inputting my answers to like a BuzzFeed
No.
quiz? Am I gonna find out what house I belong to? Am I gonna be Ravenclaw or am I gonna be Gryffindor?
Right. So going back to the comedic relief now, is that often something you revert to when answering questions, being confronted? I mean, even that. I'm not making fun of.
No.
I'm not.
You don't have to worry about. I'm not.
The comedic relief to going back to trying to avert it to something less than what the situation is.
I have thick skin. You don't need to walk in eggshells around me. But yeah, sure. Maybe I do that a lot. I don't know.
Okay. Well, I'm just wondering. I mean, I'm a psych major, as I'm sure you can tell by the questions I'm asking, but I guess if mom was there the whole time.
It's not adding up. Freud wasn't as smart as he said he was, huh?
Not even Freud. I don't even. No, that dude was weird.
That dude was weird as an understatement.
So you gain a lot of pride from answering questions related to religion, correct? Not pride. I guess you gain satisfaction from it.
I struggle with pride. I wouldn't necessarily say satisfaction. I'd say pride is better, but I do struggle with pride for sure.
Okay. So at some point in early childhood, you were made fun of because of the mispronunciations.
Yes, yeah. Actually, I had eroticism, and my name was Spencer, so I would always say my name Spencer.
Okay. And mom was working full time, gnawing on the collar, immediate relief to compromising. Okay. Even the laughing. I just
read a very funny comment. I just want to give Kaz a shout out. That was a hilarious comment. I'm gonna say it right now. He said, "Wait till you find out that I wear socks too." That's funny. Don't forget my chapped lips as well.
Well, I mean, it's an excoriation deficit that relates back to the oral phase, and I think.
But what does that mean?
Whenever you develop a certain level of anxiety or are confronted with questions, you either use either self-pain or self-comedy to deflect. And I think at the end of this, I was just trying to see which one you went for. And interestingly enough, it was about half and half. You see, either you rubbed your eyes or you bit your lip or you looked at the chat for a funny comment to avert yourself to.
I feel so exposed right now. I've never been psychoanalyzed. At least take me on a date first.
I mean, even that. It's the comedy relief. And I think it's an anxiety response. But I'll let the viewers see what I mean.
I wouldn't say I'm anxious. Maybe a little bit excited. Maybe a little bit aroused.
Even excitement can go back to anxiety because you're waiting for it. But I don't know. It was just interesting to see.
Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting.
Well, anyway, it was nice talking to you.
It was great talking to you as well, Levi. Levi, I actually didn't mean to kick you so early. I did kick you just because I was going to get to the next conversation, but I wanted to say, please come up anytime you want. I would love to have you on my live. Please. Come back whenever you want. You have an open invite. You have a key to this live. Anytime you request, I'll kick whoever else I'm talking to have a conversation with you. Sammy Jadala. Well, Bootlicking NPC just said, someone with an education go up. Well, my friend Sammy graduated from the Cleveland State University with a degree in computer engineering. So he has an education. Sammy, what do you have to say about that last conversation?
I only wanted to talk to him for real. Why'd you add me after?
Oh, my bad. It was a mistake. It was a blunder, for sure. It was a blunder.
Let I Feel Opinions come up so that we can clown him.
I Feel Opinions? Well, I don't want to clown everybody. I want to have respectful conversations. You know me.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, we know each other. He's an Arab Muslim. And I'm friends with him. Can you believe that?
Z is not tough, bro.
Z... Oh, he left. I didn't kick him. Is Sam Christian too? No. Sammy is a Muslim. feel like I'm watching a drama series. What is going on right now? Yeah, there's just so many layers to what's going on right now. I'm gonna get off pretty soon. Maybe I'll have one more conversation. Oh, you respect Muslims more than Christians? That's just because you don't. That's just ignorance, of course. That's obviously just ignorance. Was one of my parents absent? You know, one of my parents was not absent. Believe it or not. Christians more than Muslims. Spiritually over both. Islam. Sure, dude. Lol. If you guys enjoy the content, go ahead and give me a follow. Because you can see my winning smile. You can see that I have an oral fixation. And that I am indeed wearing socks. That I have the nervous tendency to make jokes, apparently. What's your out of social job? I don't know what that means. Muslims are always sweet. That's not true. Christians be rude sometimes. Muslims are not always sweet, though. You don't know enough Muslims if you think that all Muslims are sweet. No, Muslims wouldn't even say that. What's your out of social media job? I work in software development. What's your argument for the prompt? Well, I believe that it was Christianity that led to things in the West like the abolition of slavery, like universal education, like better medical care, like the institution of the university, like human rights, etc. User, that's a mid-list. Move Christians up to, that's tough. Islam, atheist, Jew, Christian, Greek mythology. Wow, so Greek mythology all the way at the bottom. Yeah, that's a weak list, dude. You gotta move Christianity up 3. No, that was the Enlightenment philosophy. Yeah, so there's a couple of problems with saying that it was the Enlightenment philosophy. The main one being is that the Enlightenment thinkers didn't contribute anything to human rights or social rights movements themselves. They all supported things like the witch hunts in the case of Hobbes. They supported things like slavery in the case of Voltaire. And not a single one of them called for the abolition of slavery. In fact, the most enlightened nation, France, after the French Revolution, where they unalived 20 to 30,000 Christians for being Christian, and destroyed churches and burned Bibles and tried to abolish the day of Sunday because they thought it was a religious festival. What did they do in enlightened France? They reinstated slavery. What about it when it's used to justify slavery? Still good. So when Christianity is used to justify slavery, that's not a causal link between Christianity and the actual behavior of enslaving other individuals. You would have to show a causal link there. So Christians are obviously going to justify their actions with Christianity. Whether or not they actually did them because they're Christian is another question. If you guys are hate watching, also give me a follow. There is no causal link for abolition. Actually, we can demonstrate a very high correlation between Christianity and the abolition of slavery, and we can provide evidence as to why it's the most likely explanation for a cause of the abolition of slavery. The way we would do that is multiple reasons. We would just give testimony of the people who would abolish slavery, and we can also, this is the big thing, we do a bivariate means comparison of the Christian regions and the non-Christian regions, and we see that the Christian regions abolish slavery, except the non-Christian regions don't abolish slavery. Whereas before that, everybody was practicing slavery. And then the only time Christians branch off from that societal norm is when they abolish it. In fact, Christianity removes rights from women despite your desire to make God good. Yeah, so why are the most free nations in the world for women Christian? That's a little bit inconvenient for your argument. Pretty sure there are Bible sayings. Oh, no, not how to own slaves, but how you're supposed to treat your slaves if you own them. For sure, because women fought for our rights, of course. Christian women mostly. The West is not Christian; it's secular. What are you yapping about? What are you yapping about? Switzerland? There's no God there. The Swiss nations remain predominantly Christian, 65%. The majority, this is from aboutswitzerland.eda.admin.ch. The majority of Switzerland's population identifies as Christian. The largest group are Catholic, followed by Protestants. So that's just, my keyboard isn't plugged in? Yeah, because it's a wireless keyboard. What? Secular countries have the highest living standards. So what do you mean by secular? Because if you mean by secular government, the United States have a secular government. If you'd like to say the most secular government, you know what country is more secular than Denmark, Norway, Iceland, Finland, Sweden? You know what country is way more secular than any of those countries? China. China has extremely low living standards compared to the West. And Denmark, Norway, Iceland, Sweden, all still majority Christian. And you know what? Christianity's been going downhill, but so is the standard of living. What are my thoughts on LGBTQ, feminism, and ICE? I think that they all, well, I guess I don't know what you mean by my thoughts. So LGBTQ, I think they're humans, and I think that they need God. I think they're sinners, but they're sinners just like I am, and they need Jesus just like I do. China's awesome. You're literally Danish. Christianity is, this is according to 2023, Christianity is a prevalent religion in Denmark in January 2023. 72% of the population of Denmark were members of the Church of Denmark. Okay. Again, as a Chinese person, that's completely false. No, I mean, people in China have a much lower standard of living than people in the West. It's gotten a lot better in the last 30 years, but it's still not even close. I'm looking at a fake website. I'm looking at a... Oh, wait, let me see. I want to make sure. Can I do this? Oh, look at this. I can actually show what I'm looking at. Ideal. Yeah, okay. So, Christianity in Denmark. This is literally what I was reading off of. Christianity is a prevalent religion in Denmark. 72% of the population of Denmark were members of the Church of Denmark. Christianity is by far the largest religion in Denmark. Denmark, 72% of the population. Yada, yada, yada. Now you can't see my chapped lips. That's true. Now you can't see it. And you have to manually resign. It also means you cannot be buried. Oh, so it seems like a kind of Christian nation if you're automatically a part of the church and then you have to be Christian to get buried. That seems like a kind of a Christian nation to me. Do I laugh in uncomfortable situations? Sometimes I do. I have to get off. My wife has been waiting for me very patiently. And I love my wife. My wife is beautiful and she's amazing. She's more important to me than any of you. So I'm getting off. Hot take. The reason you think negatively of China is because of racism and propaganda. No, it's because there's a 50 times differential in the immigrants coming from China that there are going from America to China. So look up how many Chinese immigrants there are to America, then look up how many there are from America to China. If trends reveal preferences, then we see that Chinese people prefer America a whole lot more than American people prefer China. Goodbye, everybody. Have a nice day.